Coming up next, the Sway House may be known worldwide for their resident heartthrobs and party antics, but they are also entrepreneurs and thoughtful D2C investors. Tune in to hear about how the Sway House members became angel investors and are planning to grow out their portfolios. We're introducing Josh Richards, Bryce Hall, Griffin Johnson, Sheridan Claiborne, and moderated by Pomp, or Anthony Pompliano, covering how these influencers are turned into investors. Thank you guys for joining us.
Hey, how's it going?
It is good.
I'm having Wi-Fi difficulties today, so it took me a second to get in here, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so guys, Pomp's here. I've got my video. I think the host has it blocked. Maybe there we go. All right, so we got Josh, Griffin, Bryce, and I think Sheridan's coming in as well. Maybe let's just go around the horn real quick, and Sheridan, we can start with you give us kind of the quick 30 seconds, who you are and what you're working on, and then we'll go to Josh, then Griffin, then Bryce.
Sure. Hey, name's Sheridan. Spent kind of my whole life working on different fintech startups. Currently working on a company called Untitled. And in short, what we do is we help low and middle income Americans build their wealth by being able to finally get their 401k match and employee benefits.
Yes, so I'm Josh Richards. I've been doing social media for about 4 years now. Last summer, I went on a tour. I realized that social media creators weren't treated very fairly in this space. I met up with a friend of mine, Michael Gruen, and we started talking. And then we co-founded Talent X with a few other partners. And through that journey of entrepreneurship and me wanting to expand my portfolio, we landed on angel investing as a priority.
Yeah. My name's Griffin Johnson. I'm going to follow up on Josh. I met him as well on that tour, met up with Michael through him. That's how we all became friends. And that's kind of how Sway got started with Josh and all the boys. They were staying at Bryce's house. We all met up there, decided we wanted to live together. Talent X got started. And then now I've been doing social media for about 2 years. And same with Josh, just got into some angel investing and kind of just, reaching out into the entrepreneurship world. So.
Well, hey, I'm Bryce Hall. I've been doing social media for 7 years. I guess you can call me a veteran. I got into angel investing with Josh and Griffin and Michael about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. I'm working on my Party Animal University apparel line. It's doing about $1 million plus a quarter. Right now it's doing great. I have my energy drink with Josh, Any Energy. Super excited about that. But thank you guys for having me on this call Thursday.
All right. So for people who don't know, let's just start with maybe Griffin. When you, Josh, Bryce all talk about doing social media, what does it look like in terms of what you guys are actually doing, right? We're going to talk about kind of this transition from an influencer to an investor, but what does the influencer side of the work look like?
Well, Go ahead. Okay. I would say, honestly, we're not influencers. I say we're content creators, because influencers require you to actually influence good or bad. I think we're just here on the platform to provide entertainment for people that want to watch us. And we also, or at least I preach, don't do the things I do. I don't condone anything I do. I just do it for entertainment purposes only. Griffin, you want to add on?
Yeah. So I think Bryce brings up a good point. Of course we do influence in some ways, but for the most part, we get on every day to make the best content possible that we think our viewers will like. I think that's what has kind of set us apart. Whenever we go in to make a video, we think about how can we make this the best for engagement? How can we bring the best content to the table for our viewers? And what that kind of looks like is, I think every day the boys, 2 or 3 TikToks a day. All of us have been posting on Triller as well, a video or two. And all of us do YouTube, like 1 video a week. I think Josh is putting up 2. Sometimes he has a couple different things he does. But I would say the workload on an average day would probably be 2 hours on social media. As far as I don't know what you guys think, Bryce and Josh, but I would say it's around there by the time, more than that.
Well, I would say So like going into the social media side of everything, Bryce and I have 3 filming days a week where we cut out 8 hours of our day to focus on YouTube filming. And then we have 2 brainstorming sessions a week where we set aside 2 to 3 hours to just think of all the different vlog bits we want to do. If that's inviting over special guests or, ordering the biggest pizza in LA, which I just did the other day. And then we have our 3 days a week where we focus mainly on like the business side of things. And we go into meetings, we talk to founders of companies, and we kind of try to, I guess, focus on that for those days. So we kind of try to, schedule what we do. So like one day is business, next day is filming, next day is business, next day is filming. And that just kind of keeps our head level and us keeping.
Got it. So Sheridan obviously is one of the founders that you guys have invested in. Before we get to his perspective, just real quickly, the 3 of you, I think what I've been surprised by as I've gotten to know you guys is like just how big the audiences are. I think everyone knows, hey, you've got a big audience, but like, what does it actually mean? Maybe just walk through each of you kind of how big is your audience from a either impression standpoint or a follower standpoint.
Yeah, I'll take this first, guys. I think throughout all my platforms, I have around 35 million to 40 million followers. On YouTube, I'll be averaging anywhere from 1 million to 2 million views a video. And then on TikTok, that goes all the way up to like 5 to 10 million views. And then Instagram, we all have pretty great engagement with TikTok and like this new almost wave of influencers. The actual engagement these creators have is like unheard of. It used to be like, if you have a 10% engagement rate, you're absolutely killing it. Your fans are insanely active. Now, under the company Talent X and like Griffin, Bryce, and myself, kids are starting to get that like 25 to 50% engagement rate. So, yeah.
Yeah, more 20, but it's just as your followers grow.
Yeah.
I think I have 30 million across all platforms. Same type of engagement as Josh. 5 to 10 million.
A little less on Insta though. We don't have to talk about it, Bryce.
No. It's
No.
It's
good.
Maybe more. That's besides the point.
Really
YouTube 3 million subs, averaging 1.5 to 2 million views per video. What else? I mean, there's Triller. We have 1 million on Triller, and then getting over 1 million views per video. That's pretty sick. But yeah, we just all across the board, we get millions of views, and we need to find out how to monetize it. Do the best of our abilities.
Yeah, basically the same. I don't want to be redundant here, but same stuff for me. I'm like 20 million across all. Pretty much similar engagement on YouTube and stuff. Instagram, I'm like 500,000 likes or so. 500,000 is probably my average. But yeah, basically we all have over 20% engagement on every platform, if not more. I think YouTube, we're almost sitting like at 100%, like to like 50% right there. Like, I don't think any of us really get below 50%. So it's pretty crazy. Our audiences, reach anywhere from the United States all the way literally across the globe, which is also pretty interesting that, TikTok's been able to expand that far. So I would say we have just a crazy broad audience, mostly female. I think Bryce is sitting at closer to 50-50 on YouTube. But for the most part, yeah, highly female. I'd say our demo is 14 to like 21, and it literally reaches anywhere in the globe.
Got it. And Sheridan, maybe talk a little bit about, obviously they've got these massive platforms, but what's kind of the value to a company founder? Why would you want somebody with these large audiences on your cap table?
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of factors behind it. Distribution is definitely key. Like, especially kind of those user acquisition costs go up. Having free access to distribution is pretty phenomenal. The fact that they can make a tweet, have a couple million people look at it off the bat, not have to pay anything for it is great. I think definitely depending on the kind of company. Like, a lot of the times the folks we have on our cap table, we've raised about $4.5 million so far. We started the business 6 months ago. Most of the folks though are 40 plus. And I think, I started my first kind of like social media business like 3 or 4 years ago. We had like 250,000 followers, but I can't even sniff at how good these guys are at targeting specifically their demographic. So that insight, that understanding of how to reach out to these people, how to understand what they're thinking when it comes to interacting and engaging with products, super big. So yeah, distribution, kind of unique insight when it comes to it. Even just access to broader celebrity networks. We're in the fintech space, and quite frankly, a lot of the folks we have access to in San Francisco are really helpful when it comes to accessing debt, to be able to do these strategic partnerships. But when it comes to like distributing through celebrity influencers, that's a network that I'm just not as touched into. And these guys, they work, they live and breathe in that environment all the time. And then I think at the end of the day, really what it comes down to is they will just, without a doubt, provide an incredibly differentiated set of benefits than any other venture capitalist you'd have on your platform. So like you, at the end of the day, I think it's incredibly important. Like a bunch of the VCs we've had on board, like SoftBank and Valor, been phenomenal, like super helpful. But I think what the boys are able to provide is very differentiated. There's a lot of things they could do with distribution. There's a lot of things they can do with insight. There's a lot of things they can do with the fact that, hey, they're just actually 18 to 22. Like I just turned 21. It's great to have kind of that differential kind of mindset. So yeah, I think there's just so much value that they provide that other folks just really don't have access to because it's a completely different world.
Yeah, and then guys, obviously, Sheridan is a founder that you guys sought out, invested in, are excited about working with. There's 100 other founders or more that would love to work with you for that distribution, that audience you have. How do you guys think about vetting various opportunities and kind of when do you invest versus when do you pass?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that there's a few things. One, it's like it's a lot about like the founder. For us, like if we really find that we think the founder is really smart, they're very outgoing. Every time we get on a call with them, there's something new that they're talking about. Like it's not like the same updates every single time. We see things are actually moving forward. That's a really good sign. That's something that we all look for, and I think that gives us confidence in that founder. I mean, Bryce and Griffin, do you guys want to give other?
It all comes down to relationships, like Josh said. Also, if we can help out on our social media side, like if we can incorporate what we're investing into in our vlogs or in our TikToks or whatever social media platform, that's also a huge benefit, and that also helps us. Like, hey, we should invest in that because we can help them out a lot here, and it's interesting as shit.
Yeah, I mean. Thing we can, like Bryce said, naturally, like there's a lot of brand deals and marketing and companies that always want us to like shove their product or anything they have into our content. It doesn't look very natural, so we look for things basically that we can help like scale and do it naturally without having to like really make it awkward or make it look like I don't know, just weird in our content in general. So literally anything we can use that will look good and make sense with our content.
I think one of the biggest advantages they have is as an angel or as a VC, one of the biggest things you're trying to figure out is like what's going to be the next thing to blow up. And they're uniquely situated in the sense that they know what they can blow up. They take an app, they're like, I can make this shit super hot. I can do it overnight, which means that when I invest at this valuation, I know I can triple it, come next time around. And I think that's huge.
Yeah. That makes sense. And so guys, talk a little bit about how you look to structure the deals, right? Because there's so many different ways to invest or partner with these founders. So you could put your own capital in, you could raise a fund, you could take equity and kind of say, hey, I'm going to do a number of posts or whatever there. How do you guys think about when to invest capital versus maybe do some sort of brand partnership or equity-based like advisory role type deal?
Right. So right now we've been trying to focus more on the companies like we really believe in. So we'll go in, let's say we write a personal check because that's what we're doing at the moment. We're all writing like small personal checks. If we really believe in that company, then we'll go ahead and also say like, look at, here's our social media. This is what we can do for you. We'll lay out a few points where we can help the company out or the founder out with our connections or just, our social media platforms. And then we'll go for the advisory shares as well. So I think that's definitely at least how we go about investing and how we try to make the most out of it is looking for those advisory shares as well.
Griffin, Bryce, anything to add?
Yeah.
Got it. And then Josh and
Okay.
Bryce, you guys also have decided not only to be kind of financial investors, but you've actually started Annie Energy, right? And kind of going really hard at building your own business as well. Talk a little bit about the framework you use on whether you should invest in somebody else's business and let them kind of control it, run it, and you're just a passive investor versus actually going out and building your own and trying to kind of build the equity value as the owner. How do you guys think through that?
So it all started on YouTube. Actually, everyone memes us for it. We used to shotgun Red Bulls because at the time I wasn't 21, Josh isn't 21, Griffin wasn't 21. So we used to shotgun Red Bulls instead of beers or White Claws. So we were doing Red Bulls, and we thought, Josh and I thought, like, why are we promoting Red Bull for free? Why don't we just create our own energy drink, make it better, and then just grow this business? So.
It literally started with you guys. It literally started with you guys shotgunning Red Bulls.
Yeah. It was literally just every single YouTube video we filmed. We would start the intro and we would just be shotgunning a Red Bull. And we were like,
very high energy in our vlogs.
Yeah. The whole thing was like, oh, that's how they keep their high energy. And then people would send in videos of them like shotgunning Red Bulls or like tag us on TikTok of them shotgunning Red Bulls. And me and Bryce were like, well, this is dumb because we're just helping out Red Bull or we're helping out Bang Energy. So we decided to create our own. It made sense. And going back to what Griffin said, it fit into our content. It was like a natural way to, I guess, promote something. And when you're able to do it and it doesn't feel so much like a commercial or like, you know, you're taking a break from the content and now you're watching them promote something, it definitely gravitates to the audience a little bit more when we're having fun with the energy drinks or like we're roasting each other back and forth. And it's like Bryce doesn't work out because he sleeps in all the time, right?
That's not true.
It's 100% true. So I'll roast him all the time and be like, oh, he needs an Annie Energy. And I'll like record him sleeping and put it on my story. And then all the fans are going crazy and they're like, oh, I want to wake up and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be like Bryce because who really wants to be like Bryce? So then they'll go buy energy drinks.
That's a little messed up. But yeah, when we first got the product originally, we got like, how many packages do you think we got shipped to our house, Josh? 12 packages. Yeah. Just this one where we brought back from Seattle. We got 12 packages. So all the boys, they haven't tried it yet. So on our stories, we'd be like, oh my God, he's trying Annie Energy for the first time. Tell us the truth. What do you think of it? Obviously, I'm like, yo, you better fucking say it's good. But it's a really good energy drink. It's a really good energy drink. By far my favorite energy drink. And I'm not just saying that because I'm one of the owners. So maybe I am. No,
and Griffin, how do you think about kind of investing versus trying to build businesses? You're on mute.
Own everything.
So I was on mute. I just got a puppy. So anyways, whenever I look into a business, right, it's like, is this really something I want to tackle right now? And is it something that I can guarantee like I can promote and do well? And not only that, but is it something that makes sense with my content? So kind of like how Josh and Bryce were talking, we had the energy drinks, already going through, but whenever I build something, it has to make sense. So you want your fans to be able to you want to be credited, right? So like I want to start a skincare face line. But in order to do that, I'm incorporating face masks and starting to put that skincare routine into my live streams and some of my TikToks and YouTube, whatever. So I'm building that over time. So then when I drop it, it makes sense. And people are like, oh, okay, Griffin, he knows what he's doing. But whenever I pick and choose that, it's what fits my demo, what is something I'm passionate about, and what is something I think can really scale off of my following. If I think it's going to be if I think it's a good idea and I can help a little bit, but it doesn't really make sense, then that's something I would invest in. If it's something I see and I'm like, wow, that's a great idea and it would make sense and I can incorporate that and I'm here for it, then that's whenever I would, build my own business.
Got it. And then Sheridan, maybe talk a little bit about how you think in terms of there's almost this two-headed thing going on, right? The people who have influence, who have big audiences, they're quickly becoming business owners and investors, and they're moving more into the business world. But it also seems like founders and people from the business world are working to build their own audiences and kind of have their own sphere of influence. How do you think about that as a founder?
Yeah, well, I can say specifically in our category, what we're doing with FinTech, it's just been the case for a while now that user acquisition costs has come up. that brand, that marketing, that personality, the thing that kind of makes your users continue to stick with you, as well as just join the platform in the first place, is super, super, super fundamental. So I think that's where a lot of it stems from. Like, you're able to see the kind of rabid fan base that a lot of these influencers are able to build up and generate. And at the end of the day, that's what you want as a company. Like, you want a fan base of users who are passionate about it and interact with it and talk about it. And that's really important. So I think that's why there's this really kind of fascinating fusion, is that in large part, kind of for the past couple of years, there's been this like clear dichotomy where it's like you have influencers and advertisers right there, and then you've got folks who are building businesses over here, and there's little commingling unless it's in the sense of paying. But I think what you find is that not only can both folks help each other, it actually kind of multiplies it. Is that, if we're able to build like an incredible product that they're able to distribute, if anything, now they've got folks on their side of the fan base that's interacting with it, they're really enjoying what they're doing, that kind of builds it up. And especially if there's a form of equity or kind of investment that's shared between it, it just boosts up everyone's profile. And I think in its simplest sense, like, one of the best thing about the boys too is just like, I'm 21, like, it's awesome to see kind of other kids my age making a couple $1 million a year. And where they're going to go is kind of uncapped. Just like how creative, the fact that they were able to take fucking shotgunning a bunch of just like energy drinks into a multi-million-dollar company just because they're like, wow, I really like fucking doing this, but like, we should make some money off this, is incredible. That's a level of insight that you don't see from a lot of folks. And I think it's kind of really unique for what they're able to provide.
Appreciate it.
I love that insight. Guys, how much of the companies that you've looked at from an investment standpoint, are they coming inbound to you saying, hey, I saw you do this in a video, or I think you've got a large audience, I want to kind of leverage that, versus is you guys realizing, maybe it's not, hey, we can go build our own energy drink. It's something else you do in the videos, and you say, hey, we should actually go find a company that we can invest in and then do that in the videos. Like, how much is outbound versus inbound on the deal flow side?
I think social media is so unpredictable, and it's very unknown to a lot of the people in the business world. They don't understand like the numbers yet. So rarely people will come reach out to us and say, oh, invest in this, we could do this. But we mainly do all the reaching out, and we can see like, oh, this could be beneficial for us. And
here's what I think, Bryce. Like, I feel like people would never look at social media kids like TikTokers or YouTubers as like serious investors. And I think that we are going to be the first influencers to pave that path. I think that when we started seeing deal flow actually come into our inboxes is when we were using Twitter. So we would start tweeting about, our investments we were making, or us investing in Sheridan. And a lot of investors would start like seeing these tweets and being like, why are these TikTokers tweeting about angel investing? Like, what the fuck is going on? So then all these, angel investors or venture funds, like, they start hearing about this, they're getting interested, and then they would start DMing us, and we would DM them if they liked our tweet and just ask to get on a call, get some advice, learn. And that's where we'll make those connections and get some of that deal flow coming in instead of, us reaching out.
To speak a bit on their behalf, I've got a following which is 1,000th the size of theirs, if not even smaller. I've had, I just went through Y Combinator. I've had 10 portfolio companies as part of that batch reach out and kind of talk about like the way I was working with them. So I think there is a lot of pent up demand, especially because, you see them paying multiple social media managers $60, $80, $100,000 a year. They get maybe a maximum of 500 likes, a couple retweets. These guys make a single post about Lendtable, a fintech product that has 10,000 likes. It boosts up a number of page views by tens of thousands in a single day. So at least on my end, I've seen a lot of inbound about these guys, a lot of interest.
Yeah, I would agree. I've also seen some social media people picking up on it. I don't know who exactly told them or if they just saw our tweets, but like, I saw Mr. Beast the other day literally take the exact format that we're using to say like, yo, like, whatever, like, we love what you're doing. We love to learn from you. Let's do a collab or whatever. I literally saw Mr. Beast make a tweet that took basically our tweet and then just changed the @ and then tweeted it. And I was like, I guess people are either catching on or like maybe Mr. Beast is just ahead of the curve. I don't know, but I can definitely see the trend moving now that we've been doing this, especially in the business world. People are catching on. Influencers are catching on. So I do see a trend starting to form for sure.
And talk maybe a little bit about, obviously, Griffin, Bryce, and Josh, you guys are really close and kind of work together on a lot of this stuff. Some influencers or people who have large audiences, either they're on their own or maybe their friends don't actually want to invest as well. So they're kind of, at a disadvantage in that sense. Talk just a little bit about, I'm assuming this is very informal, that you guys are working together and there's much less kind of coordination or anything today. Do you want to make it more official and kind of more as like the Sway Boys as investors as a group, or how are you guys thinking about using the group as an advantage?
I think that it's something that like you're saying, like we can use that as an advantage, but I think we also all want to look at ourselves as our own investors. I think that it's something we all want to build out and like a career path we all see for ourselves that will work very well. And I mean, I think all of us are very like bright, young-minded, like young people, and that we can definitely do this on our own. But I think that there's, like you said, a lot of benefits from doing it as a group. And I think that's why we're looking into starting like a venture fund and just kind of, keep expanding in this investor world.
I would say yes. I would say Sway as a group is more for our own businesses. We kind of use that as our own catapult right now. But other than that, like we all are trying to like form ourselves as our own individuals, like Josh said. So the only time I really like see Sway being utilized for the most part is just for our own, startups as of now anyways.
Got it. Makes sense. Sheridan, I'm going to come to you first and then I'll go to the other guys. Maybe tell us a little bit about Lendtable and what you guys are doing. And then Griffin, Bryce, and Josh, I'll come to you guys and maybe you can just cover the one business or investment that you want to plug as your favorite.
You cut out for me. Can you repeat the part you were going to ask about us?
Sheridan's going to go to and describe Lendtable, and then I'll come to you guys and just describe one business that you guys think is your favorite, investment or company that you're building that you want to plug.
Yeah, so happy to go. So I'm building Lendtable. What we do is we help low and middle income workers be able to save and invest their money, specifically by helping them get access to their 401k match and employee benefits. In the US, 25% of people with a 401k match don't use it. And that's in large part just because they're liquidity constrained. So on its face, the problem doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's the equivalent of your company literally telling you, hey, if you give me $6,000 right now, in a year, I'll give you back $12,000. So if you're financially rational, you should obviously use it every time. Big thing you start seeing though, is most people are just liquidity constrained. When you've got rent, a mortgage, kids to feed, people are making a rational financial decision by choosing to forego getting that 401k match because they simply can't afford it. Like I grew up in a low-income Black household where my parents were on food stamps and had the same thing. My dad had a 401k match for 20 years. He literally left $250,000 on the table just because of the lack of liquidity. So what we do is if you're one of those Americans leaving over $24 billion on the table every single year, you'll sign up on our website. We'll essentially link your accounts. Once we recognize that you have a 401k match, we'll issue you a card with that entire balance, meaning that you put in $6,000 to your 401k, but we cover that money that you're missing from your paycheck. And then from there, what will end up happening, that money will go in your 401k, $6,000 from you, $6,000 from your employer. And then in 6 months when that money vests, we get paid back through a small percentage of profit. So if there's a 401k match of $6,000, we'll get back $1,000 of it. More importantly, though, what that means for the user is that they now have $5,000 in their 401k every single year that they would not have had access to in the first place without having to give up any of their liquidity or take any paycheck reduction. So the way that we see it is we're serving as the first platform for helping these low and middle income workers build institutional wealth, or like the Goldman Sachs of the 99%.
That's awesome. Maybe Bryce, we'll start with you. What's the one company that you are really excited about, either as an investment or that you own?
Well, if we're talking about the companies I own, I'm really excited for Any Energy. I want to see how big it actually gets. I'm very confident. I'm sure Josh is too. It's going to be big. It's going to be big, especially like when we come out with more flavors and moving forward with it. But a company that I invested in that I'm really excited about is the 3D printing company. And when we are able to like incorporate those into our vlogs, 3D printing, what YouTubers doing that? That's going to be sick when we can actually like, wait, am I frozen?
No, you're not.
Am I frozen? Fuck. Damn it.
All right, Josh.
I think I froze.
Mike's coming back.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just continue on because I was gonna say, I mean, besides Lend Table, which Sheridan already explained for all you guys, I was gonna say, Aerospace 3D. I mean, super cool company. Their largest competitor did like a 97X, so that's super promising for us. Something that we look for as well. I mean, yeah, like Bryce said, I want to get them to bring a printer to the house so that we can start filming some YouTube stuff with it, get some cool content. I mean, the Sway Boys and a 3D printer, probably not a good combo. Who knows what we'll be printing, but it's going to be a fun time. That's for sure.
I see Griffin laughing, which tells me he is already thinking of things to print, which may not be the most appropriate.
No, I'm sure he is. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to laugh on camera, but with going on with what I'm doing, I'm working on a beef jerky. I'm working on a skincare line. So I'm really excited about both of those. I don't have any of them ready yet, but something I'm going to have in the near future. And the 3D printing is definitely going to be interesting for all the boys. Super exciting. I think it's the only one so far that we have that we can actually physically use. But I'm excited for Sheridan. I believe in Sheridan and Lend Table. It's going to be interesting for me because I'm from a low medium class family, so super passionate about that one as well.
Got it. And then Josh Griffin, we're waiting for Bryce to come back. Maybe talk a little bit about so much of what the business world focuses on is metrics and data. You guys seem to have this unique combination of understanding of, your audience size, the demographics, where they are in the world, like some very important key metrics of the audience, but also then you just grew up in a digitally native manner, right? Like you intuitively know, hey, here's the things people like on the internet. Here's what our audience likes. How do you balance that intuition with data as you're thinking about content or the things that you guys are doing on the platforms?
I mean, for me, it's like where I focus is a lot on like the algorithms of apps. So like, oh, hey Bryce, welcome back. But yeah, I would say I focus a lot on like the algorithms. So if it's like YouTube, you got to learn that watch time or the watch duration. Like that's super, super important. How long your audience is actually staying on the video and interacting with the video. Like that's the most important thing. Watch time. So you need to know that you need to make like quick, entertaining videos, very fast paced, a lot of action, not like some dead, boring, no cut talking. Like that just gets people uninterested and they click off. And then for TikTok, it's a lot about like, I feel like the shares, watch time, and comments. Like that's where it is on TikTok. So if that's bringing in more people into your video, so there's more things to comment about. If that's doing a new dance trend so that people save it so they'll do it later. I mean, it's just kind of learning the tricks, I guess, on that algorithm side is the main thing I do.
Yeah, I think Josh brought up a really good point. Just like anything else, you kind of get into the flow as you go with it. You understand the app. The trends definitely help. You kind of catch on and you see, humans are very, very simple in ways like in getting their attention. You figure out you want short content that's super action packed, high intensity. You can clickbait with like, certain things like wait to the end. And then you get like more retention on your videos and you kind of just scope out, you see how the algorithm works. You see, why do these videos succeed? That's what I used to look at a lot is like, why did this video do so well? And you catch on, there's always something. I would say 3 general things is clickbait. So you get their time under retention for the video. You can do like shares. So you make a video to where it'll like, you can put a caption or anything for it to share. And then also, comments, if you can put something in that people will comment a lot about, they have to watch the video as they're commenting and it just like.
Yeah. For example, Griffin's really good at clickbait. He used, I think one of his videos is Arrowhead Water is Trash. So like he's really good at incorporating really clickbaity titles.
We're making fun of him. He sucks at it. But
yeah, he sucks at YouTube. I'm going to be honest.
Bryce and I, we're very good at clickbaiting.
What's the best one you've used, Josh?
The best clickbait I've used? I would say, one I did recently was like meet my new girl. And then it was like ... right? So like people thought I was going to introduce a girlfriend, but it was just like my girl assistant. So I was like, meet my new girl assistant, guys. Here she is. Yeah. Laugh. What's up? But it's just like playing on things like that. I mean, We did.
It's like it's not completely lying, but we are bending the truth. And
Yeah, it's like you twist the words a little bit to get people's attention. You know what I mean?
So, some
Like
people would say that's no different than the mainstream media. So I get it.
Exactly. But
right. Bryce, real quick, show them Party Animal University. I saw you got the shirt on, but you didn't do it. Explain. I want you to explain this. I know some of the details here, and I think this really highlights just the power of what you guys can do. So you started this line. How did you build it? And then once you launched it, what happened?
I originally got this tattoo when I was a little tipsy on my leg, and it says Party Animal. Here, I'll actually just show you. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. I got Party Animal on that. I've always been kind of like a crazy outgoing guy, just like always been the life of the party, just that type of stuff. I decided to completely start an apparel line for the party demographic, or the people that like to watch parties. I mean, I feel like everybody likes to see crazy parties. So I took over that. Nobody else is really trying to take over the party demographic or people that enjoy parties. So I started the apparel line back in December of last year, did one drop. Is before I kind of popped off on social media, then relaunched beginning of June was my first official Party Animal University drop. And to now it's done over 1 million in sales. It's doing 1 million a quarter right now. It's going great, honestly. Can't wait to keep building it.
And I think what's really interesting about this is whether it's Len Table, it's Party Animal University clothing line, Annie Energy, right? Griffin, when he comes out, the skincare line, like all these different things, the distribution model is really interesting because really what it is you have a relationship with the audience and you're simply creating the same content you have been, but now you're dropping a link there and telling everyone like, hey, go buy some of the merchandise, right? And so it's very natural where you could almost take out that link to the merchandise store and put anything else. And the thought process would be if it's a fit, it should actually convert to the audience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, I was muted, but no, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to say yeah, but
yeah. Basically what you said, you just literally take whatever you're doing, you incorporate it in your content so people like trust you and like they know that you know what you're using, or like you've tried a bunch of things and they can look to you for guidance. And you just say, screw it. You swap it in with yours, drop a link. Hey, I dropped this. It's amazing. It's great. You've seen me test everything.
Be authentic about it. Be authentic about it. Be excited about the stuff that you drop. I mean, like I'm speaking for myself and the boys. We put a lot of work into the stuff that we're creating, and getting the feedback and the audience watching, the audience's purchases, like everything. It does mean the world to us. It's crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of questions from the audience. I'm going to run through these and anyone can take it. First is, when you see new people entering the content creator / venture space, do you see them as competitors or team members and possible collabs?
I think it's both, right, guys?
Yeah, it depends.
I think we compete with each other though. That's the thing. So it's like, it's friendly. It's a friendly competition, but like we all want to always one up each other just because we're all guide best friends and that's just what we do. So it's like, we're very competitive. So of course, if new people are going to hop in like this, hop in like the content creator / venture stuff, we're going to be like, oh, they're trying to like come into our territory, like big dog them and stuff like that. But we're also going to want to be like friends with them. Or
yeah, we're going to want to collaborate.
We're going to always make sure that we're like a little bit better,
I stay pretty focused, and I don't recall any of us saying like, like screw you, like whatever, like getting that kind of competitive. We just keep ourselves and try to stay on top.
I can say the opposite.
Nice, actually.
I'll poke at some people. It's fun.
And then Sheridan, what about for you in terms of, as you see other influencers, is it a thing where you basically made a decision, I'm going to go partner up with these guys and they're, the bet I'm making from a founder's perspective? Or do you look at it as, I want Josh, Bryce and Griffin involved, but also I'm open to working with other influencers or creators as well?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of a healthy mix. One, fucking love Josh, Bryce, and Griffin. I mean, for a litany of factors that I kind of didn't even mention. From it, I mean, part of the best part too is like actually they've opened up all these distribution networks to kind of other celebrities that like wouldn't have had in the first place. So I almost kind of see them as like setting the foundation. And I think the best part is once you have that kind of equity alignment, they just want it to grow as big as possible the whole time. And I think that's the best part kind of about like the competitive side is at the end of the day, like when you have some stake in this company, you're willing and want it to do kind of whatever it takes to make that company as big as possible.
100%.
Yeah.
Love that answer.
I think like we want to see like how big we, like everything we do, our numbers, especially where we're at now, every time we get into something, it's like, how big can we make this? Why isn't it big yet? Like, and then you just keep growing. Like that's literally the whole goal is like, especially with all of us, is how can we get the numbers up? How big can we make it?
Makes sense. Next question. When did you guys realize you were building a community and not just posting random videos?
I realized this back in 2016, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say for me, it was when I went on the tour that Griffin was on as well. I hadn't done really a lot of big social media events. I was pretty like, I was only like 17 and I lived in a super small town. So I didn't really get to actually see the people that were following me. And then when we went on this tour across the US, all these people would show up to the shows. Like, I think we were doing like 1,000 to 2,000 people shows. And it was just like so wild to me that all these like girls would come and freak out or start crying or they want all these photos and all these videos, and they would spend their money to come see us. And I was just like, this is like a real
That's
thing.
when you realize the numbers aren't just numbers, they're actual people.
Yeah. Like this is, yeah. It's awesome.
Josh hit it on the head for me as well. Like, cause I was in college when I started all this, had no idea what I was even getting into. Like I posted like once every 8 months on Instagram, literally. I didn't have like Twitter, none of that. I started my Twitter at like maybe, I think I had the account, but I really started using it like 6 months ago. But anyways, yeah, that tour was like, damn, this is real. Like I have no idea what's going on. Like I had never watched any social media, knew anything that was going on. So for me, that was like the eye opener.
What do you say when you pass on a venture, and is your method to keep things open for a later date to reevaluate it? Or do you prefer just to move on and not look back?
No, I think 100% like keep it open so we can look back. I think you learn a lot also from the founders that you pass on or the companies that you pass on. Like you get to see what they're doing, you know, and if you monitor that and kind of like take your notes and see, oh, maybe I was wrong about this and they turned out to be right, or, oh, look, I was right about this. So let me keep doing things like that, follow that thought process.
Yeah, and we're also still super new to the space of investing. So all of this is a huge learning experience for all of us.
100%.
Yeah, I think Josh had good words on that. Just everything you pass on, never, you know, keep up to date on it, see how it does, and then, you know, figure out why you were right or why you were wrong. And, you know, just look out for the investors, especially if you think they have a lot of potential, but you just don't agree with their idea.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Sheridan, maybe talk a little bit about the influence that people on the cap table have. Kind of how are you looking to work with these guys or maybe other people with large audiences? And is it more of a distribution and advisory type thing, or do you want them to have more of a hands-on role inside the company?
Yeah, I mean, so many people in the cap table can kind of serve very different functions. Sometimes you got folks, especially, you know, like when we were first kind of starting the company, like a month in, we just had anyone with money who kind of came on the cap table. Biggest value they were providing was just capital in the first place. Yeah, I think especially with these guys, it's that distribution. It's that access to unique insight. A lot of the folks we're targeting are people who are like fresh out of college. And I don't know anyone in the world who knows that demographic better than these guys, which is huge. So yeah, I think it can sometimes depend. It's about figuring out, like, does like a more like full-time kind of involvement, a much more hands-on approach, does that work for us? Like, does that time commitment make sense on our end? Does it make sense on their end? And I think what's great is, especially by starting with kind of that investment, it creates a foundation of like, you know, we're still boys, we're still working together, we enjoy each other's company, but there's also like this equity upside in kind of all of what we're doing. So it adds that like little extra incentive to keep kind of doing more work. So I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we start to working together like significantly more kind of hip to hip going forward.
Very cool.
They've already been dope as hell. I fucking love these boys to death.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
It's pretty good at ping pong too.
Hey, I got you, baby. I got you. Oh, and a big thing I'd say for incentives, I mean, of all the investors we have, there's no better parties or more fun hangouts that we can go to. A lot of the older VCs, we just don't get that. And that's important to any other founder out there. That's something to be hyper cognizant of.
You gotta have fun every once in a while. So.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's claiming you three aren't having fun for sure.
Every Saturday.
Another question is for Josh, Bryce, and Griffin. Do you guys teach the companies you invest in how to build influence? Is this something that you can teach them? And is it something that you want to kind of invest money and then teach them how they can actually do some of this for themselves?
I mean, of course, I think that we want to do what the companies want us to do for them. So that's kind of where I was going with like the advisory shares that we try to get. Like if they come to us and they say like, we need this, this, and that, or we go to them and we say, this is what we can do for you. And we lay it all out and they are like, okay, we want this, this, and like, you know, they pick from it. I think that we definitely can teach people how to you know, hold an influence on a certain demographic or how to maintain a fan base or grow a fan base. And I think that's something that we'd love to offer to people that we invest in.
Yeah. I mean, it's just hard. I would help anyone and like we can give them our best advice, but at the end of the day, it's really hard to teach someone that. And like it takes a lot of time to develop that because there's a lot of things that go into it that no one thinks about. So, I mean, I would be willing to help someone or even help them like run or, you know, take a position where we could be advisors or we could help them run their accounts or something like that. But it really is hard to teach someone, you know, how to really harness an audience and keep it. So it takes a lot of things, but I say we would all be willing to.
It's not as easy as like, you know, doing a little TikTok. It's
yeah.
Otherwise, they're pretty big.
I told you guys from the first time I met you, that's the only thing that's off limits is no TikTok dancing from me. So it's it's good. Bryce, you've got the Triller hat on. I know that you guys have kind of a very special relationship with the company there. And it's not just, hey, we're going to be users of the platform. Talk a little bit about what you guys are doing with Triller and kind of how you structured that and really why.
Yeah, of course.
You can go.
I'll start. So yeah, I'm chief strategy officer over at Triller. About, I would say like 3 months ago now, I think we started kind of hearing everything that was going on in the media, with TikTok and like all these security threats and, the rumors with China, everything, and the app being shut down. So we were all looking for a place to move our content to, or actually create a new app ourselves. And then we got put in contact with Ryan Kavanaugh over at Triller. And we started talking with them and we found out as we were talking with them, we found out they were like the perfect match for us. They were very forward thinking, creator first. They wanted to implement our ideas. They were open to us like suggesting new features on the app. They wanted us to use the app and make it better. So with that, I mean, we all went over to Triller and kind of have advisory roles, or myself like a C-level role in the company, and are working to make it the best app on social media.
Better than TikTok.
100.
So maybe we'll end here, and then Sharon, I got one more question for you, but Griffin, Bryce, Josh, like any thoughts on TikTok, you know, kind of what's going to happen there, how you guys are thinking about moving your content or doing things on other platforms, and then where you're focusing in terms of like what will be the most important platform for you moving forward?
I think with all the media coming out, trying to get TikTok banned, it eventually will get banned, maybe within the next year, and Triller will be the next platform. But I think all of our main focuses right now are YouTube, longer form content, being able to branch out to other platforms and not just being known as TikTokers. And then we're getting into investing. We just want to make this all long term. We don't want to be just TikTokers, especially when the app dies, just like Vine did.
Griffin, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I respect TikTok, and I'm very thankful to have it as a platform that's I met all of these guys. But if it stays, you know, it stays. If not, then I would say we all have plenty of guns on our holster to whip out and whatever. We're very diverse. Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube. Like we've taken over enough on every other platform to where I'm not really worried. I'm hoping, for Triller's sake that it would give us a really good advantage to really build that and have that audience ready to go. But either way, we're going to figure it out and, adapt.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, just going off of what both those boys said, I think that we've done a really good job of diversifying ourselves. I think about 8 months ago, I remember having a conversation with Bryce. We looked at TikTok and we knew it wasn't going to last forever. We've seen, like people say, like history repeats itself. We've seen the Vine come and go. We've seen creators come and go. We've seen the fall and like the rise of all these mega social media stars that people think will be in the business forever. And with that, we're trying to learn. Like you learn a lot from history, right? So we're trying to do it differently than anyone else has with Musical.ly and TikTok, which were pretty much and Vine, all pretty close platforms, same general like idea. Not a lot of people moved to YouTube while they still had their audience on those apps. It was like, oh, we have nothing. Now we have to move to YouTube. So Bryce and I were like, let's pump our YouTubes while we still have the following. Let's pump our Instagrams while we have the following, and let's just be known everywhere instead of one place, so that we're safe if something happens in one social media platform, in which it did. TikTok is now under investigation. So I think that's just the way we played our cards. We played them right, and we're going to continue doing that.
And talk a little bit about, you guys mentioned YouTube as kind of this safe haven almost. Is that a belief that it's just never going to go anywhere? Is there specific advantages like in the long form content? But like, why is that platform so interesting to you guys?
That's a really good question, but it is that just throughout my 7 years being on social media, and as Josh said, history repeating itself, and you learn from the past events, everyone moves over to YouTube. And for how YouTube is, it's kind of replacing networks. Like they're basically TV shows. So I feel like YouTube is going to be the next television.
Yeah,
I would
go ahead, Griff.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like Bryce said, YouTube has been around for so many years. It's repeated itself over and over and over. Every time, the creators that have made it the longest and built real careers, David Dobrik, Logan Paul, like all of them, like Mr. Beast, they started on YouTube, they've lived on YouTube, and they're the longest living creators that have ever been seen on social media. And the reason why is because, YouTube, they have, Google AdSense, they're very well monetized. Their app runs really smoothly. They have great ads, and everyone in the business space knows about YouTube. They know how to, sell ads and, put it into their marketing. So it just makes sense. The long form content is way easier to sell yourself and pitch yourself to shows and get those bigger roles into mainstream media. It all just kind of makes sense, and their format works really well, and it's easy to use.
Josh, anything else?
No, I think the boys touched on it all. I think that we've seen YouTube around for a while, so it's something that has a little bit more of that longevity. I don't think it will last forever. I don't think it's going to be around for another even 10, 15 years. I think that'll be something new to replace it, but I think that it has a lot longer of a lifespan than TikTok does.
That makes sense. Sheridan, last question for you. Talk us through, just as you're building a company, hearing these guys talk about various platforms, kind of how they're having to adjust to, some platforms popping up, leaving. How do you think about marketing the business, leveraging these guys, and kind of staying really adaptable for kind of this changing environment? You're on mute.
Yeah, I definitely think kind of adaptability is key here. I mean, just for kind of all of our marketing tactics, I think one of the biggest things is that this has been a process we go through with everything we try. Like initially we started trying to distribute through like Facebook and LinkedIn ads. We started doing like longer form content that brought people on. So I think just knowing that these guys are wildly adaptive, just seeing how quickly they're able to kind of turn on a dime and put out some new set of content or work with some new platform. If anything, that's like, even if it's not direct distribution from them, just like understanding, hey guys, we're thinking about doing a lot more on kind of like Google AdWords. We're thinking about doing a lot more through these different YouTube content creators or things on TikTok. How do we think through that? How do we kind of best position ourselves to kind of build up that brand and build up that audience? That's what's so big, because that's the case for essentially everything we're doing in our business. We need to be adaptive with our product. We need to be adaptive with our growth. We need to be adaptive about how we onboard folks. And understanding how to be quick on that, even if we don't necessarily know exactly what we need to do next year, we at least have a process and a formula for understanding, like, how do we think about changing that when that kind of arises.
It's awesome. We've only got 3 minutes left. I've been told, Griffin, Bryce, and Josh, we're not allowed to use any names for what we're about to talk about, but you three are about to go headfirst into podcast. There's a lot of people who are watching who are marketers, who control ad spend. Talk a little bit just about, like, why are you guys interested in podcasts, and kind of what's the idea that you're hoping to get out of this by focusing on those platforms as well?
I've been wanting to get into the podcast space for a while now. I'm doing 3 separate podcasts, 2 of them being once a week, and then one of them being twice a month. All of my podcasts are the 3 aspects that make me me. I don't know how much I can go into it, but I like the names.
I got told no names, so you say whatever you want other than no names.
Like the names of the people that I'm doing them with, or the names of the podcast.
Don't share any of it. It's supposed
okay. Then I'm doing 3 separate podcasts, all different aspects of me. I'm super excited to move forward with it. I think all of them are going to be pretty successful.
Yeah, I think we wanted to touch in on that podcast market, just because that's one of the, I guess, social media places we haven't gone to yet. I feel like we love to just dive headfirst into a lot of different areas, and we love to test the waters in a bunch of different things, just to see what we're best at. Podcasting has always been something that I've talked about. I know that I even have a show on like my YouTube channel, which is called Tea Talk, where we just talk about drama that's going on in the social media world, which is a little bit podcast based. Like, we're just talking about our opinions. We're very, just like light, making fun of situations. So it's something we've all been interested in, and it's something that we know we can monetize well and do well in, because we can bring views to podcasts. So we're excited for it.
I think Josh and Bryce are also, being a little nice. The real answer is we all love to compete. We saw podcasts, we do short form. Podcasts give us, a way to our voices to be heard, and we all knew that we could come in and crush in our own ways. So, for me especially, I was like, I saw this opportunity where and I'm sure the boys have the same ideas. We all can speak, share our minds, and kind of, enter a new space where we're always expanding our webs wherever we can, because, whatever we do, we automatically compete. We want to crush. So podcast was just the next move, and it made a lot of sense for all of our careers and where we're going right now.
Awesome. All right, guys, that's it. I appreciate all 4 of you guys doing this. Hopefully this was valuable to everyone listening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Good to see you.
That was awesome.